Okay, so let's look at some of the very useful tools in Photoshop. First of all, let's look at some navigation tools. So you are going to need to frequently zoom in and out of your picture. Ooh, different ways you can do it. Currently, I'm scrolling around with a magic mouse, which is very useful for this. Say I want to zoom in here. On the keyboard, I can go Command or Control if you're on a PC, Command minus to zoom out and plus to zoom in easily. I can also hit the letter Z on the keyboard, and you can see I have my plus symbol there, and click to zoom in. I can also hold down the Option key and the plus becomes a minus, and I can zoom out again. I can also hit the zoom key, and rather than just clicking, I can actually click and drag to zoom in or zoom out. That's called the scrubby zoom tool. So many options. Sometimes you might want to fit just the whole document onto your screen so you can get a view of that composition overall. And sometimes it can be frustrating trying to zoom in and out and getting it to fit perfectly. So there is a brilliant shortcut for that. It's simply Command 0, and it will take you to fit screen, and it'll fit it to the tallest edge. Very useful. Now, another way of moving around your image, if you can scroll with your mouse, or you can use the scroll functions at the bottom of the window or the side of the window, but all of these things feel like the long way of doing things when you're working. There is a great shortcut that you can use when you're in any tool, and that's simply by pressing the space bar. You'll notice that the hand symbol appears, and you can click and drag your image wherever you like. So you can do that in any tool, and it will temporarily switch to the hand tool while you have the space bar pressed down, and then you simply release it and you're back into whatever tool you were working in, which is brilliant. Now, working in Photoshop, you're almost certain to be working in layers. It's the way that you will want to work when you're putting together images and illustrations. So at the moment, I don't have any panels open over to the side. So anything that you need that you can't see, look up to the top of the window to the menu. I'm going to go to Window, and I have all of these drop-down options here. And this is where my panels live. So there's Layers. By the way, they're in alphabetical order. Click on Layers, and my layer panel appears. And you'll see that this document is set up with a few different layers here. Working in layers is essential when creating your digital images because it allows you to really control the image and the effects in it. Now, we have the little thumbnails to the left here that you can kind of figure out what is on that layer. If you right click on that thumbnail, you have other options. You can have no thumbnails at all, or you can have different sized thumbnails. So it might depend how many layers you're actually working with, because if you have the bigger ones, this is the medium size, that list can get incredibly big, which may not suit. So if you want to make a new layer, there is a symbol down in the lower edge of the panel. There's a square with a plus in it, and if you hover over it, it'll tell you what it is. Create a new layer, and you can just click on that and make a new layer. Now, just be aware that the new layer that you make is going to pop up immediately above wherever you are in that layer panel. So if I undo that and I click down here on this larger red square and I make a new layer now, that layer is immediately above there. So it can be handy if you know where you want that layer to be. It can be handy to work with that in mind, because the layers work literally like a layer cake. I can drag that red square up one and now it's in front of both of the yellow squares, or I can drag it to the top and you see the blue line appear where I'm moving it to, and now it's on top of everything else. So there'll be things that you want to be in front of some things or behind others, and the ordering of your layers is going to be very important. If you want to simply turn off the visibility of layers, you can click on the eye symbol here and you can turn the layers on and off. So sometimes if you just want them out of the way visually for a while, or you just don't want that effect going on, you can do that. If you want to only see that layer, you can hold down the Option key and click on that eye, and it'll turn everything else off temporarily. But it's important not to click on any other layers, or else you have to turn them all back on manually. If I hold down the Option key and click on that eye again, they'll all come back. Now, while I'm on that, notice when I did that I see a checkerboard pattern around the red circle. Checkerboard in the Photoshop workspace means empty space. I always work with a plain white bottom layer as my background, and I find it less visually confusing. But what's really around that red square is actually nothing. It's empty around there. Okay, so if you ever see the checkerboard, don't be alarmed. It just means that it's empty. That's all. Now, it's really important to label your layers, because once you start doing things to an image and adding effects and colors, etc., you can end up with an incredible amount of layers, and it can be very confusing and hard to find the layer that you were wanting to find. So if you right click where the word is, it'll become highlighted and you can simply type the new name for it. So it may seem a little bit time consuming at first, but if you get into the habit of always labeling your layers, you'll be glad that you did, because it makes it easy to work with the image and find the things that you might want to find. If you want to get rid of layers, I mean, of course, you can just switch the visibility off, but if you actually want that layer to be gone, you must be clicked on that layer. Anything that you want to happen on any layer of your image, you need to have that layer activated by clicking on it over here, and you see that layer is highlighted. Then you can right click and select delete layer, and I'm getting a warning, yeah, but I can turn that warning off, or I can simply hit delete and it's gone, or I can drag it down to the rubbish bin symbol and it's gone. So there's a lot of different ways to delete those layers.